Hallo zusammen. Today I shall serve the clergy, because I will teach you some German words that are related to and inspired by Geist, ghost. Let's find out what their albums and their song titles would be translated to in German, and what you can take away from that as both a fan of Ghost, I guess, I reckon, and someone who enjoys the German language and likes to learn it. Well, similar to Sleep Token, who I just filmed a video about as well, similar to this one, with Ghost, I was a little bit late to the party. A little bit late to the Geisterfeier for der Geist, Singular, die Geister, Plural, the ghost or spirit, can be both. I first listened to Ghost, I think in 2017, when they released a live rendition of Das Ritual, Singular, die Rituale, Plural, the ritual. Now, I can't remember how I found out about this video and how it basically came to me, but I'm definitely glad that it caught my attention. And driving back from the Mera Luna Festival 2018 in Germany, my friends played Der Makabre Tanz, Dance Macabre, for Macabre, Macabre, and Der Tanz, Singular, die Tänze, Plural, the dance. And I definitely dug it quite a lot. But for some unfathomable reason, it wasn't until 2022 with the album Herrsche, or in infinite form, Herrschen, to reign, when I really became hooked. It was the combination of the music in general, the melodies in specific, but also the whole visual appeal of die Band, Singular, die Bands, Plural, the band, which, as you can see, turns into a feminine anglicism noun in German, and das Mysterium, Singular, die Mysterien, Plural, the mystery that surrounds them. Because at the time of me really discovering the band with Impera, I didn't know yet that the identity of some former Mitglieder, das Mitglied, Singular, die Mitglieder, Plural, the member, and of der Kopf, Singular, die Köpfe, Plural, meaning the head of the operation, Tobias Forge, was also known already. Honestly, from a non-member perspective, of course, it doesn't really matter too much to me, because at the end of the day, am Ende des Tages, it all comes down to the music, the art itself. Does it resonate with me or not? And with Ghost, it does from A to Z. And I'm not kidding you, it's the entire discography, meaning the entire opus, you know, the entire body of work that is all albums and EPs and singles and live albums. Sometimes there can be a divide between, you know, the OG, the old school fans that only like the first 2, maybe 3 albums. Then there's also the fraction that says, well, you know, the newer albums, I prefer those. And then there's also the fraction that I'm a part of, I guess, that just likes all of it because I have Ghosts. Or is it the other way around? Starting from 2010's Das gleichnamige Werk, Opus Eponymus, Opus Eponymous, for gleichnamig, eponymous, literally equal named, and Das Werk, Singular, die Werke, Plural, here Opus, or work of art. Over to the 2013 follow-up, Am feindlichsten, most hostile, which would be the German and English equivalent of the Latin superlative infestissumam. That second album was followed by an EP called Falls, or Sofern du Geist hast, If You Have Ghosts, which also hints at the band's cover version of the eponymously titled Rocky Erickson song. It has since become a unifying motto for all Ghost fans. Wenn du Geist hast, hast du alles. If you have ghosts, you have everything. Talking about linguistics for a moment, the English if is conditional, conditional, meaning just if this is the case, then that applies. Hence my German translation with falls or sofern, which both express that conditionality. In colloquial German, though, people sometimes also use wenn in that conditional sense, even though it rather refers to the temporal aspect of something, when something happens. And that's also why I chose it for the translation of the full phrase. Arguably, the band gained even more popularity with the release of 2015's Besser, Better, Meliora, which, as a term in an abstract way, also mirrors that growing success in the album's more positive title. What's sort of special about Ghost is that one of their biggest songs, well, actually two of their biggest songs, they weren't released on studio albums. They were released on EPs. Chronologically speaking, I'm talking about the band's 2016 EP, Papststar, Popstar, for der Papst, Singular, die Päpste, Plural, the Pope, and der Star, Singular, die Stars, Plural, the Star, which turns into a masculine Anglicism noun in German. Literally speaking, you could also translate Popstar to Papststern, for der Stern, Singular, die Sterne, Plural, the Star, meaning the star up in the sky. And of course, I'm talking about the almost Kraftwerk or Rammstein-sounding title, der Vierkanthammer, Singular, die Vierkanthämmer, Plural, square hammer. It includes the adverb Vierkant, square, and der Hammer, Singular, die Hämmer, Plural, the hammer. I especially enjoy the song's play with der Rhythmus, Singular, die Rhythmen, Plural, the rhythm, and der Akzent, Singular, die Akzente, Plural, the accent. Moving on, the 2018 album Die Vorgeschichte, Singular, the prequel, or the original French title Préquel, sort of, I guess, saw the band move into a more sonically approachable direction, maybe, compared to previous efforts. And to be clear about this, das stört mich nicht im geringsten. I don't mind that in the slightest. Because as long as the songs resonate with me in some way, I don't really care about die Musikrichtung, Singular, die Musikrichtungen, Plural, the musical direction. I guess you could argue that the band's second EP, 7 Zoll Satanische Panik, 7 inches of satanic panic, or for all non-Americans, Brits and Canadians, 17,74 Zentimeter Satanische Panik, 17.74 centimeters of satanic panic. That EP sort of became a late bloomer. It was released in 2019, but it wasn't until 2022 when Maria an einem Kreuz, Mary on a Cross, became a popular audio track on TikTok and therefore also a popular song. So it also became der Türöffner, Singular, die Türöffner, Plural, the door opener. I have a co-worker, she's a really, really cool person, you know, in pretty much every way, shape or form, but her favorite type of music is Schlager. But the twist is, through TikTok, she also heard Mary on a Cross, and she totally loves that song as well. Sometimes, you just gotta be lucky, and arguably they were, and it opened so many more doors for them, and they were able to reach many more people that otherwise they wouldn't have ever heard about Ghost, I don't think. With the singles off of the band's 5th album, Impera, and subsequently with listening to the entire album for the first time, it also finally really clicked for me. Und jetzt habe ich alles. And now I have everything. Some may say I just got satanized, but maybe not. And I see nothing wrong, I see no evil in that. I mean, maybe it all was just die Pantomime, Singular, die Pantomimen, Plural, pantomime. Which is another cool little EP full of covers, and the Phantom of the Opera, das Phantom, Singular, die Phantome, Plural, the Phantom. Well, and I even got more with their 6th album, Verwelkt, withered, or in the old Greek way, Skeleta, which also reminds of das Skelett, Singular, die Skelette, Plural, the skeleton. Not just as a term, but also in terms of the album's artwork. I love it. Through attending my first concert by the band in 2022, I had a totally different and even increased appreciation of their body of work. And talking about songs, what would some of them be titled in German? Maybe let's start with, well, not the first Ghost song, but in fact even earlier than that. Jahr Null, Year Zero, for das Jahr, Singular, die Jahre, Plural, the year, and Null, as a noun, die Null. Because all numbers become neuter nouns in German, by the way. One of the band's big songs is also Die Kirche, Singular, die Kirchen, Plural, the church, or, well, in Old English, Ceres. And depending on your interpretation, he, ist, is the reason why the church exists and people congregate. A vocally standout track that also sort of harkens back to the band's leader Tobias Forge's earlier death metal band Repugnant is Mumienstaub, Mummy Dust, for die Mumie, Singular, die Mumien, Plural, the mummy, and der Staub, mostly singular, the dust. Little German language hack for you guys, putting on my linguistic glasses for a moment. Because, technically speaking, there is a plural form of der Staub, but it's so rare that I can't really think of any scenario, any context where a fellow German might have used that plural form. And another takeaway from this term, der Mumienstaub, is that it is a masculine noun, even though it's die Mumie, which is a feminine noun. Why is that? Because with German compound words, the last part determines the gender of the entire compound word. And it's der Staub, masculine, so it's also der Mumienstaub. It's a compound word that is masculine, therefore. And if mummies aren't careful enough, they may be eaten by die Ratte, Singular, die Ratten, Plural, the rats. Apart from Mariana Cross, another cool track is also Küss die Ziege, Kiss the Go-Goat, for küssen, to kiss, with an Ü, küssen, here in the imperative form, Kuss, and die Ziege, Singular, die Ziegen, Plural, the goat. You're a goat for watching this video. Well, anyway, I was really happy that the band also decided to release Der Überlauf, Singular, die Überläufe, Plural, in a technical way, or das Ablassventil, Singular, die Ablassventile, Plural, the drain valve, meaning, well, spillways, as a single. Because it's freaking awesome. Or you could also say it's der Ohrwurm, Singular, die Ohrwürmer, Plural, the earworm, meaning catchy tune. And damn boy it is. This album also features Nenn mich kleiner Sonnenschein, call me little sunshine, for jemanden nennen, to call someone, and der Sonnenschein, only singular, the sunshine, a literal equivalent by the way. And from the sun to the moon, der Mond, Singular, die Monde, Plural, the moon. It's der Mond des Jägers. It's a hunter's moon. For der Jäger, Singular, die Jäger, Plural, the hunter. The visually stunning and great sounding live album Ritus hier, Ritus jetzt, right here, right now, for der Ritus, Singular, die Riten, Plural, the rite, hier, here, and jetzt, now, also includes a new studio song called Die Zukunft ist ein fremdes Land. The future is a foreign land. It's die Zukunft, mostly singular, the future, fremd, foreign, and das Land, Singular, die Länder, Plural, the land or country. I hope with this video your language learning and ghost liking brains have found their Friedensfeld, their peace field, for der Frieden, mostly singular, sadly, the peace, and das Feld, Singular, die Felder, Plural, the field. But at the end of the day, he is definitely able to
satanize you.
Der Satan, Singular. Well, there's no plural form because there's only one. Or maybe you just feel like you're satanized. It's satanisiert, satanized. And coming full circle with the linguistic perspective here, the German suffix isiert is the common equivalent of the English iced, satanized, satanisiert. The more you know. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, and you could take away something from it. My takeaway is, I'm gonna listen to some Vierkanthammer now. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.